It's so hard when you're so used to being by yourself all the time, and then you get a chance to sit with yourself and realize that your fears are the worst thing for you. The fear of being you, the fear of being seen, the fear of being known when you know who you are within. Sometimes a lot of people would think when they see somebody and that person doesn't really show them who they are. It's not that person is a weird person or not a good person. It's just that person doesn't like to be seen. They have an insecurity within themselves because they know their own greatness in an aspect where when they show it, they know that people will either criticize it or have something to say. So they protect it and they're that way by themselves. And sometimes that's not good because some people are in a dark place when they're by themselves. But if you don't pay attention to a person, you won't know what place they're in at that time. You won't know because we're so caught up in figuring out our own lives. So people are more likely to judge a person rather than see them for who they are. And our world has caused us to think like that because we're so used to being told to be something else rather than being told to be themselves. It's like we are holding our own selves back in an aspect because what we're doing is choosing to put ourselves at a standard rather than be what we know we're supposed to be. We're limiting ourselves. We limit ourselves. And it's so sad too because everyone is unique. Everyone is unique in their own way. Everyone. It's like we're everyone. Everyone is each other. If we were to think like that, then we would literally be able to coexist properly. But because there's so much envy and pride and ego and everything else out of balance, so much chaotic things and so much toxicity within our minds and in our hearts and in our spirits, we don't blame the people because everyone has been traumatized. Everyone has been, ripped away from their true selves. Everyone has been ripped away from their true selves. And it's like, you can't fault anyone because everyone has been eating toxic foods. Everyone has been going through some form of a struggle. Everyone has had something in their life that caused them to have to think crazy or do something mean or whatever. But it's really unique for some people that know how to keep it together and still elevate in some form of fashion and still want to help others even in their pain. I'm not talking about people that get up somewhere and then they just forget about everybody or whatever. I'm talking about, because even if that's the case, that's that person. They have the right to finally be able to be free. We try to limit ourselves onto another person too. Like, let that person live. Now, if it's affecting another person, then that's a different story. But if they're just doing their thing and living, you can't expect nothing from somebody that worked hard for what they get. And it's like we all have come from some form of struggle. It don't matter if you was rich or not. There was something missing in that household, whether it be mental or spiritual or physical. Nobody knows no one else's life. We all are an extension of each other, whether we like it or not, because we start from a human first. We are taught as we get older, and some of us are genetically built a certain way, and then some things affect us as children that makes us turn out to be something else than what we were, because our childhood was ripped away from us. But if other people were to understand that connection, we would be more understanding of another person and realize that they are just different. That doesn't mean that something is wrong with them. They don't have to be at your standard. Your standard is your standard of your life for you to protect. You can't make someone be something else in your life. You can only be what you can be for yourself in your own life. We're forcing our own beliefs on other people, our own standards, because of what we learned from whatever journey we went through. I have to go through my journey to come back and tell you that this is how you should live. No, my journey is not your journey. My journey is mine. And it's mine for a reason. At the end of the day, we all have our own journey. And when it's like whenever we get to that point there where we can realize that, then you're able to be your higher self that you've always wanted to be. You can actually be that because you realize that you've been limiting yourself based off of a standard of another person's belief system rather than what you already knew and already believed. And your heart already told you, and that's why you kept getting hurt over and over and over again, because you were going against your heart. In a way, you're not focusing on your heart, your inner self. You're focusing on the external, the feeling, the lust, the physical, the sight, all these senses, rather than the true inner being within yourself that tells you this is not right and this is not wrong and this is wrong. And you know that because you're given the red flags. It's always been shown to us. It's always been there. We've always been there. We've always been there. We've been orchestrating our own life. And we would literally, everyone literally watches it unfold. Watches it unfold. We see and we know what we've created, but still will deny that this was my causing. Because we need someone else to blame rather than to see that I created that outcome. I had options, and this is what I chose. It's a lesson for you. And also, if someone needs that assistance, you have some sort of guidance for another human being. We are guides as well. But we are not the lower forces, demonic, unless that's what you're choosing to be. You have an option. You can choose to be a guide, or you could choose to be somebody that's demonic, or somebody. Now, if you don't even have to be demonic, you could just be somebody that's trying to project yourself on other people. It's one or the other. Like, which one are you going to choose? And if you're an in-between person, then that means you're not being real with yourself. We all are extensions, though. We get to choose that. So we know what feels good to us and what don't. When you get around a certain energy, you should know what feels good around you and what it doesn't. And also when you get that option that makes you feel like, yo, I'm thinking, you have to look at those things. You don't have to force yourself, though, to not experience it, because you need to experience life. You have to experience life. You got to know certain experiences, but it depends on the experience that you're putting yourself into. If you're choosing to go through that experience, know that you can't blame nobody when you get to the other side. You can't blame nobody when you get to the other side, because it's still a choice that you made, and it's something you had to learn from. It's just what it is. You would never know unless you took it, and you took it, and that's what you chose. So you can't fault another person if you continue to allow someone to do certain things when you know in your spirit that it's not right. Or you keep doing something that you know for a fact is affecting you over and over and over again. Or if you keep saying things that you know gets to certain outcomes and you keep doing it. You're telling your own self you don't care. My throat. Clint, close my throat chakra. You can't close me. You can't shut me up. You can't shut me up. You try to shut me up. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to happen. This is what's supposed to happen. At the end of the day, all of us as human beings are supposed to come together. Period. Everything matters. Everything. Everything is connected. All of these things show us that everything is connected to each other. We are not oblivious either. We know this and we see it unfold. We watch these movies take place within our mind, and then we create them, though, outside of ourselves. We're the ones creating it and watch it do what it does and then get mad at the outcome. How do you choose certain things and get mad at an outcome and try to affect or attack another person because you don't feel secure in yourself? Then what are you doing for yourself that you're not secure? If you can't take care of yourself, then you can't be around other people to affect their energy and make those people have to be out of alignment because you want to be selfish to your own self. So now you're automatically selfish to another person. Automatically, because you're selfish to yourself. You automatically doing that to another person because you're taking it from you and giving it to them rather than taking care of your own selfishness. Like, go somewhere else then. If you don't go around people, if you don't know how to control yourself, if you know that you're always going to affect someone when you go around them because you continuously know what you're doing. Everyone has choices. So that means that if those people are able to make a choice to be in our life, that means we have a choice to let them. So we can't blame them either. You got to look on both spectrums, on both ends, from another person's shoes and from another person's shoes. At the end of the day, if you're letting that person continuously do that to you, just like they got a choice, you have a choice to let them continuously do it. So how are you mad at that person for not being what you thought they was going to be when they showed you that they was going to be whatever they was going to be, and you let them? That's why people are so quick to think that they need to jump into a relationship rather than just be friends with someone. Because that's what we do. We don't get to know a person. Why do you have to be in a relationship with somebody to talk to them? You could be talking to other people, but talk to that person if you choose to. But that's different. Not supposed to be having sex. If you're choosing to have sex, then you're just choosing to share your energy with people. And if that's what you want to do, and other people are okay with it, by all means. But if you're doing it with ill intent, trying to sleep with this, and you get something and something happen, you did it to yourself. But if you're trying to get to know a person, you're able to get to know people. Nobody can force you as a human being to not be able to talk to someone and talk to another person if you're not having sex with them. If you have control over your emotions as well by knowing how to be a friend to someone first before you are choosing to be their mate. It's all a choice. You chose it. So if you choose to cheat and being with somebody else, then you're choosing to get called out. You're choosing that if that happens, it's your fault. You chose it. Like, if that's the thing, like, we get mad at the craziest things, but yet we're the ones that caused the whole thing. The whole thing. I got my henna on. I did it myself for the first time. Eid Mubarak, y'all. Eid Mubarak. My husband is Muslim, so it was Eid. You know, we fasted. I did it for the first time. But yes, I just felt the need to talk about this because it's like we are everything and everything is us. Like, that's really the truth. That's really what it is. Like, I don't know how much else to say that. I mean, other people don't have to believe me, don't need to do nothing. I'm just going to say what I'm saying, and this is how I feel. Y'all, like, I get it too. It's like me too. I am you, so I know I gotta look at myself. It's like, now what is my issues? You know what I'm saying? Forget about everybody else's issues. Their issues is their issues. What is mine? What is yours, right? But what is mine? Like, talking to myself right now, because that's really where it comes down to. That's really what matters right now at this moment, y'all, honestly. Because it helps me. Helping myself helps you help yourself. Because I'm showing you firsthand what you need to do, which is, what is my issues? Like, let me look at myself. Somebody could tell me something all day and night, and I could let it affect me, or I could take in here what they're saying and choose to see if that is something that I need to work on. It's my choice. I cannot listen and still do whatever the hell I want to do. That's still my choice, just like it's still your choice. But I'm talking from my perspective. At the end of the day, that's my choice, and I choose to be able to look at things, analyze it, and analyze myself. Because let me tell you something. I could have sabotaged my husband. I could have sabotaged not being married because I was self-sabotaging myself in my mind, trying to make myself think like something's going to happen. This is too good to be true. That's what I was telling myself. And every single time that I thought something was going to happen, something different happened. Matter of fact, it happened even better than I even thought it was going to happen. And it is what it is. Listen, God is so good, because when you're good to God, when you know the things, the choices that you're given, and you can choose to do certain things, but you personally make the choice. You are the one that creates the outcome. So when you choose to be being the bigger person doesn't mean letting somebody take control of you, letting somebody think that you have to respond to them when they're being rude. None of those things. You have to put yourself first. Period. So you have to make sure that you are protecting yourself and at any means necessary, and not in a way where it's like you're cutting people off. No, not in a way that you're cutting people off. By looking at this, you need to analyze yourself and take accountability within your own actions whenever you're dealing with a situation. But that's a choice. I'm helping you understand something right now. You have to analyze yourself. So at the end of the day, whatever you choose to do, it's what you chose, and then you get to learn from it. But at the time, if you want to know, the thing is that you have to analyze yourself before you choose to attack another person. Because at the end of the day, you could be in your emotions, but it's gonna affect them, but it's ultimately gonna affect you. Because now you gotta sit there and deal with that feeling and that mindset that you did what you did. You hurting yourself. Why would you want to do that to yourself? Forget about, I understand the other person, but I'm telling you to look within. You choosing to make that choice so you can sit there in that energy. Now you got to sit in the energy of something that you just did, that you know don't feel good, and you still want to do it. It's like an adrenaline rush for certain people. But I don't understand that, because I'm not that type of person. At the end of the day, if you want to be that type of person, you need to understand what comes with that territory. No matter what you put out, you're going to receive back, because that's what you're choosing. So anything outside of the choice that you make is no longer nobody else's problem. Just saying. And that's real. That's real. That goes for anybody. Everybody need to be held accountable. Period. It is what it is, because that's how you grow. That's how you grow. And I'm talking about held accountable for yourself. For yourself. I'm just saying. Like, how else? How else could you really heal in this world if you're not taking accountability to what you're doing? It doesn't make sense. You can't complain about healing. You can't complain about certain things that's going on if you have the power to change it. If you have the power, if you don't have the power to change it, if you have literally no power whatsoever, I mean, you're not given any options. You're not given any choices. You're literally held beyond your will. You have no money. You have nothing, and only you have to. That's a different story but even within that, even in with that, you still have a choice how to adapt to that situation. You have a choice to be rebellious to that situation. You have a choice to create that situation to be something. Everything trickles down to something. When you get to one thing, you're going through it's a whole nother thought process and everything. But you got to still take control of the way you thinking in that moment that you're doing whatever you're doing. Even if you're down to being killed. You have the last fire in you to choose what is your ending words, your ending feelings gonna be. You have that choice at that time. Are you gonna panic? Are you gonna be evil at that moment? Or are you gonna be at peace with yourself to say and be able to accept your moment? Honestly, we have a choice within every single thing that we do, even at the worst point. And some things you have to accept in those times, but you have the power within yourself to make those times be what you need it to be at that time. And whatever you choose it to be is what it's going to be. Y'all, I swear, honey. When I channel, I be channeling. And that's just the way it is. When I channel, I be channeling. When I channel, I be channeling. I really like my little first henna I did on myself. Y'all, I'm just so happy. I'm so happy, like, that I'm growing. And I'm 32 years old, but I'm really growing, though. Like, I really see things more than what it is, because it's so much bigger than everything outside of us right now. It's like everything is within. That's how everything changes outside of you. That's how everything changes. I got a bump right in the middle of my head. Right there. That's how everything changes outside of you. When you change the inside of you. When you create peace with the inside of you. When you allow yourself to accept everything that you've been through, everything that you chose, every choice that you made, everything from anything besides the moment you are right now, anything before this moment, you can honestly look at it and take it as something that can be something that can change your entire life if you have the right mentality about it. You never have to be forced to do anything you don't want to do. It should feel good to you. You have to learn how to stop trauma bonding and needing and then start needing yourself. Take the time to discipline yourself, even if it's a week. You have to make the choice to say, let me sit with myself. Let me fast something. It doesn't have to be food all the time. It can be anything. It could be friends. It could be your phone. It could be food. It could be, cigarettes, weed. It could be anything. You know what I mean? You have the choice to make the first step in changing, and then you don't have to go crazy with it. It's just about making the one step. That one step will trickle into more steps. But if you're not making any steps, that's failure. If you're not making any steps, that's failure. But if you can make a step, that's progress.